Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a dress tutorial for you. It's going to be a high-waisted dress. Okay? So the trick to this is knowing your body type, basically. I have a longer torso, so the higher up the skirt, the better it looks. For my size, I'm about a size 6. I got 2 yards of fabric. And you can either recycle an old shirt or you can buy one. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to use a short sleeve black shirt. And I'm going to use this shirt because it slides up now. So there's really no point in keeping it. So I might as well reuse it for something else. You know, I say if you're any thinner than a size 6, still get 2 yards. If you're any bigger than that, size 8, you can still use 2 yards. Any bigger than that, I'd probably get more. You're going to need some type of elastic if you're like me and your boobs are bigger than your waist and your hips are bigger than your waist. For my last one, I used this type of elastic. But throughout trial and error, you can use a whole bunch of different kinds. For my next dress, I'm going to be using this kind and sewing the shirt to one end and the skirt to the other end. So it's really whatever you feel comfortable with working with. If you're very thin, you probably don't even need elastic. You can just use the widest sewing stitch and it'll kind of bunch and you can sew it on there and it'll be fine. It's just if bigger on top, bigger on bottom, you're not going to be able to get a dress on if it's just sewn together with no elastic. And I like the elastic. It's just, that's probably the most difficult part to putting it together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our shirt in half. Okay, so I cut my shirt about this length, so that means my dress is going to come to right about up here. So cutting your shirt is very important. You don't want to cut it too short, and if you keep it too long, it really doesn't matter. It depends on where you sew it. So after you have your shirt cut, you're going to take your fabric. When you're by your fabric, it's going to be folded in half. Don't unfold it. It's going to make your life easier to just keep it folded. Basically, what you do is you're going to wrap the skirt around you about a quarter. So right here is where you're going to cut. And then you're going to have this extra. This extra is going to be used to make a sash. Okay, so now once you've cut your fabric, you've cut that little extra off. You're going to fold it in half. So now you have this, okay? And you're going to sew them together. It doesn't really matter which side you sew them on because they're both the same side. I mean, they both have the pattern on it. So, we're going to sew that together. Okay, now once you have that part sewn together up here, you have to decide how you want your skirt to look. The last skirt I made, I put the folded side that's where your fold was when they gave you the fabric. I had that on the bottom and it kind of creates a bubble skirt. For this one, I'm going to put that part up here and I'm going to do a hem at the bottom. So if you want a bubble skirt, you can basically skip this step, but if you want a hem, you're going to fold it about 1/4 of an inch, sew it, and then you're going to fold it over again another 1/4 inch, and that's going to create your hem for the bottom of your dress. So if you want to do the bubble skirt side, just skip the step. Okay, now you have your 2 ends. If you're doing a bubble skirt, you have the folded edge and you have the 2 open sides. Since I did a hem, I have the bottom hemmed and I have the bubble side. If you're doing a bubble skirt, you're going to use obviously the open end for your top, and I'm going to use the folded end for my top. Okay, like I said before, if you're skinny enough, you can just use a really thick stitch and it'll bundle it up, and when you go to sew it on your shirt, it should fit you perfectly fine. For me, I'm definitely using elastic. Okay, there's different kinds of elastic. Okay, there's this kind, it's probably like 1/4 inch thick. Or, well, that's the same kind. There's cord, which works just fine. You know, I might even use this for this time. So what you're going to do, if you're going to use anything under 1 inch, elastic-wise, is you're going to want to take whichever side's your top, and you're going to want to create basically a hem, but you're going to leave an open area. Okay? So I'm going to make the hem. Okay, so I made this area for my elastic to go in. And remember, you want to leave an open space so you can put this elastic in. So I think I changed my mind from how wide I made the area for the elastic to go in. See that? You want enough space so you can put the elastic in when you're making that hem. So I'm going to take the elastic and I'm going to basically put it around the area where I think it's going to go. You might want to like pull on it a little bit to make it a little stretchy, because I mean, what's the point in having elastic if it doesn't stretch around you a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to put this much elastic in there. Okay, it took me forever to figure out a good way to put them in there, and it's really ghetto, but I took a bobby pin and I tie the elastic to the bobby pin. Okay. Alright. Now I take this. Where's my opening? Okay. Now my opening is right here. Okay, and I stick it in. Oops, sorry. Stick it in the opening. Make sure it's going this way so that it stays on there. And a big thing with the elastic is also to make sure that it doesn't get tangled, because you don't want tangled elastic. So then you basically are taking it and pulling it through. And you just want to make sure that the other end doesn't go all the way through, because you're going to be sewing the elastic to the skirt. Okay. So this is what you should have. You should have that outer part and these 2 pieces of elastic. So what you're going to do is you can either sew the 2 pieces of elastic together, or you can sew it onto the skirt. It really doesn't make a difference. And then you're going to obviously sew that little part. And then your skirt is going to be done.